Long ago, in the vast sun-scorched expanse of the ancient land of Canaan, where the Jordan River whispered secrets to the arid plains, a people forged in the fires of exile and divine promise stood on the threshold of destiny. These were the children of Israel, wanderers no more, led by a man whose name echoed with the weight of miracles past. Joshua, son of Nun, successor to the great Moses, gazed upon the horizon where the silhouette of a colossal fortress pierced the sky like a defiant spear. This was Jericho, the gateway to the promised land. A city of unyielding stone, whispered legends and shadowed intrigue. The walls of Jericho were no mere barriers. They were monuments to human ingenuity and hubris. Towering higher than 10 men stacked upon shoulders, they were built of massive blocks hewn from the earth's deepest quarries, reinforced with timber and earth, wide enough for chariots to race along their tops. Guards patrolled ceaselessly, their bronze helmets glinting under the relentless sun, spears at the ready, bows strung taut. Inside, the city buzzed with life. Merchants haggling over spices from distant lands, artisans hammering gold into idols, and priests chanting to false gods in temples adorned with lapis and ivory. King and commoner alike believed their city impregnable, a bastion that had withstood sieges from empires long forgotten. But Jericho's strength was its illusion, for it stood not just against armies, but against the will of the Almighty. Joshua, a warrior tempered by 40 years in the wilderness, knelt in the dust of the Israelite camp. His people numbered in the hundreds of thousands, men hardened by desert trials, women who had borne children under starry skies, elders who remembered the parting of the Red Sea. They had crossed the Jordan on dry ground, stones from its bed now piled as a memorial to God's power. Yet, as they encamped before Jericho, doubt crept like evening shadows. Whispers rippled through the tents. How can we breach such walls? We have no siege engines, no battering rams. Our swords are sharp, but these stones mock us. It was then, in the quiet of twilight, that Joshua encountered a figure of celestial might. A man stood before him, sword drawn, radiant as if forged from starlight. "Are you for us or for our enemies?" Joshua demanded, his hand on his own hilt. The stranger replied, "Neither. I am the commander of the Lord's army." Falling to his face, Joshua worshipped, and the divine messenger delivered God's decree. "See, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and its fighting men." The plan unfolded not in strategies of war, but in acts of unwavering faith, a blueprint so bizarre it would test the soul of every Israelite. As dawn painted the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Joshua assembled his people. The air was thick with anticipation, scented by campfires and the faint tang of fear. Priests in white linen robes, their beards oiled and faces solemn, hoisted the Ark of the Covenant onto their shoulders. This sacred chest, overlaid with pure gold, housed the tablets of the law, Aaron's rod that had budded, and a jar of manna, a tangible emblem of God's covenant and presence. Before them marched armed warriors, shields gleaming, spears upright. Behind followed the multitude, families, flocks, and the rear guard. "Listen to the word of the Lord," Joshua proclaimed, his voice carrying like a trumpet. "For 6 days you shall march around the city once each day. The 7 priests shall bear 7 trumpets of rams, horns before the ark. They will blow their horns, but you, the people, must utter not a single word. No battle cry, no murmur, no whisper. Silence until the moment I command you to shout." Murmurs stirred among the ranks. A veteran soldier, scarred from battles against Amalekites, leaned to his comrade. "March!" In silence? What madness is this? We've waited generations for this land, and now we parade like fools? But Joshua's eyes burned with conviction. "This is not our battle," he said. It is the Lord's, obey and watch miracles unfold. Day 1 dawned crisp and clear. The procession began at first light. The priests led. Their trumpets, curved shofars carved from ram's horns, raised to lips. A long, piercing blast shattered the morning stillness, echoing off Jericho's walls like a challenge from heaven. Step by step, the Israelites circled the city. Dust rose in clouds from thousands of sandaled feet, coating throats and stinging eyes. From atop the battlements, Jericho's defenders jeered. Archers knocked arrows but held fire, puzzled by this non-assault. "What sorcery is this?" a captain barked. "They march but do not attack." Laughter rang out, but beneath it lurked unease. Rahab, the harlot who had hidden Israelite spies weeks prior, watched from her window built into the wall. She had tied a scarlet cord as instructed, her heart pounding with secret hope. The circuit complete, the Israelites returned to camp in silence. No walls cracked, no gates groaned. The sun set and questions festered. Children tugged at mothers' skirts. "Why didn't we fight, Mama?" Elders stroked beards, recalling Pharaoh's chariots swallowed by the sea. "God has his ways," they murmured. Day 2 mirrored the first. The trumpets wailed, a haunting melody that seemed to vibrate the very air. Around they went, the ark's golden cherubim wings catching the light. Jericho's king, from his palace balcony, consulted astrologers and priests. "These Hebrews are mad," he scoffed. "Let them tire themselves." But spies reported the eerie discipline of the marchers. No taunts returned, no weapons brandished. The city's market slowed. Fear whispered in alleys. By day 3, fatigue set in. Blisters formed on feet, muscles ached from the relentless pace. A young priest, trumpet in hand, wondered aloud in the evening, "Lord, how long?" Joshua patrolled the camp, encouraging with stories of manna from heaven and water from rock. "Remember," he urged, "faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Day 4 brought scorching heat. Sweat poured down brows as they circled. Flies buzzed, drawn to the mass of humanity. From the walls, Jericho's children threw pebbles, mocking chants filling the air. Yet the Israelites remained mute, their silence a weapon sharper than any blade. In the camp that night, prayers rose like incense. Families gathered around fires, reciting psalms of deliverance. On day 5, clouds gathered, threatening rain. The march continued, trumpets blasting with renewed vigor. Cracks appeared not in walls, but in resolve, both Israelite and Jerichoan. Rahab gathered her family, whispering of the God who dried up seas. Inside the city, stores were rationed. Sentries doubled. Day 6, the routine etched into bones. Around and around, the procession, a living serpent coiling about its prey. Sunset brought relief, but also tension. Tomorrow would be the 7th day, the day of completion, as God had rested on the 7th after creation. As the first rays of day 7 pierced the horizon, Joshua roused the camp with urgency. "Today we march not once, but 7 times. And on the 7th circuit, when the priests sound a long blast, all the people shall shout with a mighty shout, for the Lord has given you the city." Excitement electrified the air. Warriors sharpened blades in anticipation. Priests polished trumpets. The multitude, from youngest to oldest, steeled their voices. The first circuit. Trumpets blared, feet pounded. Jericho's walls loomed, seemingly eternal. Second, the sun climbed, shadows shortening. Silence held, thick as fog. Third, hearts raced, pulses syncing with steps. Fourth, dust choked throats but eyes burned bright. Fifth, whispers of wind carried omens. Birds fled the skies. Sixth, anticipation peaked. Joshua rode among them, nodding encouragement. Then the 7th. Midway, the priests halted, raising shofars high. A prolonged, earth-shaking blast rent the heavens. Joshua's voice thundered, "Shout! For the Lord has given you the city." The pent-up roar erupted, a cacophony of thousands, raw and primal, shaking the ground. Women ululated, men bellowed, children screamed. The air vibrated with power, and then, miracle. A low rumble grew. Stones shifted. Cracks spiderwebbed across the massive walls. Towers swayed like drunken giants. With a deafening crash, the fortifications collapsed inward, dust billowing like a storm cloud. Gates splintered, ramparts flattened. Jericho lay exposed, its defenses reduced to rubble. The Israelites charged, swords flashing. By divine command, they devoted the city to the Lord, every living thing except Rahab and her household, who were spared for her faith. Treasures of gold and silver filled the tabernacle's coffers. Flames consumed the rest, a pyre signaling the dawn of conquest. Joshua stood amid the ruins, raising hands to heaven. "Cursed be the man who rebuilds this city," he declared, sealing its fate. Thus fell Jericho, not by might of arms, but by the symphony of faith, marches of obedience, silence of trust, and a shout of victory. The promised land opened its arms, a testament that with God, no wall stands forever. Moral lesson of today's story. In our lives we face Jerichos, insurmountable barriers of doubt, failure or opposition. They mock our efforts, tower over dreams. Yet, as Israel learned, victory comes not from frantic striving, but from faithful obedience. Listen for God's unconventional plan. March in silence when called, and when the moment arrives, shout with conviction. Walls will fall, paths will clear, for the battle belongs to the Lord. If this expanded tale of Jericho has stirred your spirit or given you fresh hope, please like this video. It tells YouTube to share it with more seekers. And don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell for notifications. We drop new Bible stories every Sunday to keep your faith fueled. Next time we'll uncover the hidden depths of David and Goliath, secrets that could change how you face your giants. Share this video with just one person who needs a miracle today. You never know whose walls it might help topple. Comment below. What's your favorite Bible miracle? Or what wall in your life needs to fall? Let's build a community of faith here at My Ancient Bible Tales. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed. Keep marching, and remember, with God, no wall is too high. See you in the next story.